The festival has addressed this. There are three sides of town. There's North Side, South Side, and Lehigh.
Yeah, about it.
And I've had to fight with that not coming here and supporting the arts. It's totally separate. And it's a class thing. And there's a whole lot of difference, and it all happens just a block away.
We're working on it, right?
Yeah, well,
It's a challenge, as we like to say.
well, it is a challenge.
As a professor at Lehigh, Dave, I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you, and that's the one thing I think that those of us who have lived here for any amount of time, I can't tell you how many times I sit in my classes and say, you know, you Lehigh students say there's nothing to do in Bethlehem, and you're just freaking wrong. Get off the campus, go to Godfrey Daniels, go across the river, right? And some of them do. I think some of that's starting to change, but it's a deeply embedded, isolated community in a lot of ways. And so there are people at Lehigh who are trying to change that dynamic, one student at a time, and it really does make a difference. But I completely agree that that's been historically been a problem. I've been at Lehigh 30 years this year, and it's been a problem in all those 30 years.
Look at the color of the walls. Run away, Lehigh brown.
I said microphone back to Bridget. Oh, sorry, Bridget.
I just want to say that I'm here in this town because of a program that was the forerunner of Touchstone Theatre, which was a program out of Lehigh University, which the purpose of way back then was to break down the barriers between town and gown, and that was the Lehigh University Improvisational Street Theatre Troupe, which is where I met my husband Bill and why I stayed. So that effort, that was John Pearson who began that, a professor at Lehigh, and that was an amazing program, and I just wanted to record that. I lived on the south side after that for a long time, and I just think those kind of efforts, really you can see what fruit they bear into the future.
Oh, why don't you hand the microphone to the gentleman there?
Yeah, I came to Lehigh to teach the very year that Godfrey Daniels opened. And I want to say a word about this place. It's been an incredibly rich base of community for this larger community. Dave, Cindy, Ramona, everybody, we are incredibly in your debt. Yeah, I talked to my students and tried to get them to come too, but you know, I can't think of how many concerts I've been here and how many incredible musicians I've heard, several of whom have passed on. And it's felt kind of like a home.
Okay, so I'm going to make a couple of brief comments. One, in addition to the north side, the south side, and Lehigh, there's the east side, which is another neighborhood that everybody forgets. And my office,
Talking Pembroke?
I am.
Yeah.
My office is at Northeast Middle School. I mean, yeah, there we go. Jenny's here. Yeah. So yeah, we have another crew of kids that we need to bring in. But I also want to do things like give credit to Deb Sakarakis, who has made sure that she has included the arts with Rockwell Middle School. Phenomenal opportunities for children that they would have never had without her. And I will say this on behalf of Lehigh is that I work with the English learners in Bethlehem School District, so they're the new arrivals. And we have a professor at Lehigh who is working very hard to get first generation kids into Lehigh at no cost. Wow. And so I am taking kids every year on a tour of the campus where they talk to financial aid and they talk to counselors to consider, to say that that wall that you see should be a door and you can go through it. So we're trying one little piece at a time. It's not enough, but it's a beginning. And so we can start to chip down the wall, then there's a shot. And I'm glad that they're at least approaching us and saying they want to do that.
Can I ask for people to go to the chili festival, the chili cook-off here? Is there a lot more mingling of everybody? I mean, does food bring people together in a way? Right, that's what I always think, that food is the way. Bring the food. We'll all come, right?
Once upon a time it was Christmas, that was a major tourist. Then Music Fest, and now it's food and some entertainment too. Talk about place, I wanted to have a fond memory of writing for the Morning Call. During Music Fest, when was the year that you wrote Silken Dreams?
Some years after I moved here, so like 90-something.
Okay, so 90-something Music Fest, I hear about this song, and Anne plays it for me in the Walnut Street alley across the street from what is Red Stag, the Red Stag Club. And you should really hear it. It's a lovely song about the closing, the last day of the last silk mill in Allentown. And Allentown, you know, if you know anything about Allentown, Allentown was textile capital of the Northeast, one of the big ones. I think if we could switch the conversation, we started edging toward it, about positive changes, you know, practical nuts and bolts changes that we'd like to see in Bethlehem. When I interviewed Bill for a story in Icon magazine about the festival UnBound, I asked him that question. I asked you that question too. And Bill mentioned he would like to see some really nice development along the Lehigh River, you know, venues, just, you know, more places to draw more people. It's amazing the lack of, aside from the trail, you know, the canal trail, the lack of opportunities along the river. So Paul, you want to mention how would you like to improve Bethlehem, nuts and bolts?
I can think about it. I'll think about that as well, but I wanted to comment on something from earlier. I'm not going to defend Lehigh. I think that people have done that. I do think there are things to defend. I did notice last night at the Hidden Sea that I think the Southside Initiative was one of the sponsors of the Festival UnBound. I know the English department had contributed to the Hidden Sea. There are a lot of things wrong with Lehigh, but there are good people there who are trying to make things better. But that's really not what I wanted to say, but I went ahead and said it anyway. I wanted to speak to the comment earlier about, are there two Bethlehems? I think there are many Bethlehems. I think in any town, there are many towns in that town. I don't come from Bethlehem, you probably can't tell that right at top. But I come from a place that in many ways is similar to Bethlehem, except 500 miles south of here. I grew up, I like to say I come from Taylorsville, North Carolina. I actually come from 6 miles in the country outside of the very, very small town of Taylorsville, North Carolina. But it's where we used to make furniture, just like we used to make steel here. And you know, it's a place that's also having to rediscover itself, having to find a new way to go forward. And I think for any town, any community to go forward, it has to recognize that it's a good thing and a bad thing that there are more than one town in that town. It can be divisions, it can be problems, it can also be diversity and opportunity if we recognize and try to bring those different communities together and take strength from that rather than suffer.
Yeah.
Bill. There's Sharon.
Sharon. Thank you for being so brave.